Hello guys and welcome back. So in this section we'll talk about directives in Angular. So directives are ways of attaching behavior to the DOM. So basically what you do is you use a directive in the template on a particular element and the behavior of that particular element changes in some ways. It might change the style of that particular element, or it might change a behavior by uh, replacing it with something else, or hiding it from the DOM entirely, or showing it to the DOM, and other such scenarios can happen, or other such behaviors can be exhibited by that particular element in that case. Okay, so directives in Angular are decorated with an directive decorator. Everything inside Angular is essentially a TypeScript class, so unless we decorate it with something. So in case of directives, we decorate a TypeScript class with a directive decorator, and it can be used on other components and directives as well. Okay, so directives are registered on the declarations array in Angular in ng module. So if you create a directive and you want to use it in a particular module, then you'll first have to register it by adding it to the declarations array of the ng module of a particular module that you're using. Um, until and unless you do that, Angular will have no idea about the directive and you might get an error if you don't. Okay, so that is something that should be done. Apart from that, directives can be configured as well by passing in some metadata. So we can, like, for every decorator that we have in Angular, that is a class decorator, we can pass something or the other as the metadata. So we can use this metadata that can be passed to the directive decorator to basically configure it in some ways. Okay, and then as we have learned earlier, directives also have lifecycle hooks. So there are four lifecycle hooks that a directive can have, and that would be um, ng on changes, ng on init, ng do check, and ng destroy. Okay, so the four lifecycle hooks that were related to content and view, that is ng after content init, after content checked, after view init, and after view checked, won't be available for this one, because for directives, because directives don't really have templates. But the other four, that is the on changes, on init, do check, and on destroy, would be available in that case. Okay, so in Angular we have three types of directives, and we have already talked about the component directive right here. So component directives are basically directives with templates, and these are the most common types of directives that we have in Angular. Every Angular application essentially can be visualized as a tree of components, and this is the type of directives that's most common in it. Then we have structural and attribute directives. So structural directives are basically the directives that change the structure of the template, or they basically add or remove some things from the DOM. Okay, so they are prefixed with an asterisk sign. So these are the three types of directives that Angular provides us with, that are ng for, ng if, and ng switch. We'll be having a look at them in the next video. Okay, and then we also have attribute directives. So these are the directives that essentially change the appearance or behavior of an element. Okay, and then they can be used as attributes of elements, like these are the directives that Angular provides us with, ng style and ng class, and these are the built-in attribute directives that can be used. Okay, so that was all regarding the very brief introduction about directives. In the next video we'll talk about the structural directives, that is ng for, ng switch, and ng if. Okay, these are some of the built-in directives that we have in Angular, that is the structural directives. So for structural directives we have ng for, ng if, and ng switch that are built into Angular and can be used right out of the box, and so is the case with attribute directives, and these are all the built-in attribute directives like ng class, ng style, and ng non-bindable. Okay, so in the next video we'll talk about structural directives and how they can be used, and we'll be using them in code. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.